Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be drafting a madam blouse. Please subscribe, like and share. Thank you. This is the basic bodice pattern for the front. For the bust span, I marked 5 inches from the bust line to the hip line. I use my ruler to connect the points together. On the under bust line, I took 0.5 inches close to the center front. Then I took 1.5 inches on the other side. I used my tailor's cuff to connect from the bust point to the under bust. On the waistline, I took 0.5 inch on both sides. On the hip line, I went up by 2 inches. Then I connected all the points together, just as I'm doing in the video. The bust measurement is 41 inches. I divided 41 inches by 4, which gives me 10.25. Then I marked. The under bust measurement is 36. I divided 36 by 4, which gives me 9. Then I marked. Plus 2 inches dart replacement. The round waist measurement is 42 inches. I divided 42 inches by 4, which gives me 10.5. Then I marked. Plus 1 inch dart replacement. The round hip measurement is 45 inches. I divided 45 inches by 4, which gives me 11.25. Then I marked. Now I connected the points together using my ruler. I gave 2 inches allowance for the side seam. Then I connected with my ruler. For the neckline, I marked 8 inches. Then I used my ruler to connect the points. I extended the dart line to the neckline. Then I measured 0.5 inch to the center front and 1.5 inches on the other side. Then I used my tailor's cuff to connect the points to the bust point. Now I extended the neckline to replace the dart of 2 inches. I marked 2 inches on the neckline, on the chest line and also on the shoulder line to make a new armhole. Then I use my tailor's curve to connect the points together. I use my tailor's curve to make a curve to the new armhole. You can decide to use a straight line to the new armhole depending on what you want. For the side dart, I marked 2 inches from the bust line. Then I use my ruler to connect to the bust point. I marked 1 inch seam allowance on the hem line. Then I use my ruler to connect the points together. Now I use my scissors to cut out the marked line, just as I'm doing in the video. For this blouse, I'm cutting the under bust. You can decide to leave the under bust and connect them together. For the side dart, I cut one part of the line and join them together. I added extra brown paper at the side to cover up the shortage, just as I'm doing in the video. So this is the front basic body pattern for the blouse. For the back basic body pattern, I started by marking 0.5 inch for the shoulder line. I used my ruler to draw a line across. Now I marked 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. From the 1.5 inches marked, I marked 4 inches for the neck width and also 9 inches for the shoulder. For the back bodice pattern, I'm going to mark the bust line, the waistline and the hip line. This is how it looks like after drafting the back bodice pattern. To learn how to draft a basic bodice pattern, I'll drop a link in my description box below. Now I marked 8 inches for the neck depth. Then I use my tailor's curve to connect the points together. From the waistline, I marked 5 inches for the bust span. Then I used my ruler to draw a vertical line. For the back dart, I measured 0.5 inch on both sides. Then I came down by 0.5 inch on the bust line and came up by 2 inches from the hip line. I used my ruler to connect the points together, just as I'm doing in the video. On the bust line, I placed my bust measurement divided by 4, which is 10.25. On the waistline, I divided my waist measurement by 4, which gives me 10.5, plus 1 inch dart replacement. I measured 11.25, which is my hip measurement divided by 4. Now I marked 2 inches for the seam allowance at the side. I did this for the bust line, the waistline, and the hip line. I used my ruler to connect the side points together. I used my scissors to cut out the marked line, just as I'm doing in the video. At the hemline, which is the lower part, I subtracted 2 inches. This is to match the length of the front blouse because I subtracted 2 inches at the side dart. For the zipper allowance, I went in by 0.5 inch. This is to make the blouse to sit perfectly at the back. Then I use my scissors to cut off the excess. I will use this draft pattern to cut the lace material and the satin material. Now I have cut the material with the pattern paper. Now I am going to join the side seam of the bust area. The lace material is transparent, so I join the lace and the satin together. So I join the side together just as I'm doing in the video. I will go to my sewing machine and sew the side seam. This is how it looks like after sewing. I ironed gum stir to the satin before sewing the side seam, just as in the video. I also repeated the same process for the lining. I used the lining to turn over the neckline by placing the two right sides together. So I'll go to my sewing machine and sew through the neckline. For the lower part of the front blouse, I placed the lace and the satin together. From the brown paper, I gave a notch at the place where the dart is going to be. Now I'll go to my sewing machine and sew down the dart. After turning up the neckline, I'm going to sew the upper and the lower parts together. This is the wrong side of the blouse, so I have joined them together just as in the video. This is how the front blouse looks like. For the back blouse, I placed the satin and the lace together, just as I'm doing in the video. I placed the right side of the lace and the right side of the satin together. Now I'll go to my sewing machine and sew through the neckline to the side of the zipper allowance. After sewing that, I turn up the material. I will go to my sewing machine and place the zip. Now I have finished sewing in the zip. The next step is to indicate where to sew in the dart. After sewing in the dart, I place the front and the back blouse together. Then I sew the side seam using the measurement. This is how it looks like after sewing the side. For the sleeve, I cut the width of 9 inches and the length of 10 inches. I cut out the satin about 3 inches length for the turn-up of the lace sleeve. I place the two right sides of the lace and the satin material together. I will go to my sewing machine and sew through. After sewing, I turn it up to the other side and sew through. This is how it looks like. Now I pleated the satin about 20 inches width and 15 inches long. I will go to my sewing machine and sew all the way through. After pleating, this is how it looks like. At the middle of the satin, I place the elastic and sew on it. This is how it looks like after putting the elastic. I also put elastic at the end of the sleeve. I sew down the side of the sleeve. Then I attach the sleeve to the armhole of the blouse, just as I'm doing in the video. I will go to my sewing machine and sew all the way round. This is the result, a madam blouse with a puff sleeve. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, Lily Fashion Apparel, for more videos. Thank you.